Hello, everyone. Being a cycle breaker means you are the person in your ancestral lineage who ends the destructive intergenerational patterns. You are the brave one who recognizes that the way you were raised was harmful and you do not want to repeat the same patterns in your life. That's from the book Cycle Breaker, A Guide to Transcending Childhood Trauma. Hello, I'm Zainab, a coach. I'm a trauma therapist, mainly childhood and ancestral trauma, and I'm a breathwork facilitator, trauma informed breathwork. Today, I invite you to dive into cycle breaking. In every family, there are repeating patterns, behavior passed down from generation to generation, often without anyone pausing to question them. And these patterns can include emotional wounds, limiting beliefs, repressed emotion, or any dysfunctional relationships in general. But sometimes someone rises up and says, "Stop, it ends with me." And that person is the cycle breaker. And what if it was you? So, what's a cycle breaker? Basically, it's someone who consciously decides to break free from toxic and repetitive family patterns passed down through generations. Unlike those who accept these dynamics as unchangeable, that's just how it is, the cycle breaker recognizes their harmful impact, chooses to heal, set boundaries, and create healthier relationships. And this process takes courage and perseverance, but offers a different future for generations to come, and that's amazing. Breaking these cycles not only improves the life of the person involved, but can also have a positive impact on future generations. It helps establish healthier and more fulfilling foundations for oneself and descendants. And energetically, this also impacts the ancestors. Example, each family carries like a suitcase of beliefs, wounds, trauma, and behaviors that are passed down consciously or even unconsciously to future generation. And sometimes this inheritance is toxic, dysfunctional, or limiting. And that's what the cycle breaker comes to disrupt. And it's crucial to understand the toxic family inheritance because these dynamics can anchor themselves in behaviors and influence how we see the world and how we interact with each other. Some examples of the cycles you can break is trauma cycles. Successive generations experiencing physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, for instance. Second, intergenerational poverty, overcoming financial or educational limitations that are passed down from previous generations and breaking the cycle of poverty in the family. Mental health issues, identifying and addressing issues like anxiety, depression, addiction that are often minimized or ignored within the family. 4. Toxic family dynamics. This can include codependent relationship, narcissism, aggressive passive communication styles, constant criticism, or lack of recognition. Limiting conditioning. You are here to question expectations or value that do not serve one's well-being. Rigid gender roles, for example, discrimination, racism within your family, or beliefs like you have to suffer to succeed, or we don't talk about this in our family, we don't talk about our problems with others, right? And finally, something you're here to say stop to is emotional suppression. Managing emotions through repression or violence or anger, like unhealthy anger, not the sacred one, or not being allowed to express yourself, the shame that gets passed down from generation after generation. And you're here to break everything. Like maybe you recognize some of the things I'm talking about, and now you're here, yeah, I'm not really sure if I'm a cycle breaker. Well, Here are some signs that you may be the cycle breaker, okay? Because some people just have like a deep feeling of desire of wanting to change things, but they don't know why. And it happened to me before, like before I fully understood that I was the scapegoat slash cycle breaker. I didn't know why I was in this dysfunctional family, and why everybody was different, and why I struggled so much. So hopefully you'll get that you're one too, and that you'll suffer less. So here are some signs. So you feel different from other family members. You don't align with certain values, certain behaviors you observe. You even contradict certain ways of doing things. And you're the first to reject toxic family patterns and question them. You have a strong desire to understand family dynamics. You ask questions like, why why is this happening? You seek to know what happened in the past and how it influences the present. You have, like, you research your ancestors. You question what's happening in your family, and yeah, just question in general certain things. Then you feel the need to work on yourself, whether it is through therapy, which I advise always, through personal development or spiritual practices. You're just motivated to heal your inner wounds, and you're generally curious. You might even be the first to go to therapy and encourage your family to do so. One other sign is that you want to offer a different life to your children's or future generations if you don't have children. You're determined, like you're so like it's so important for you not to pass on the same toxic patterns. You read books on neurosciences, mindful parenting, conscious parenting, and so on. Another sign is that you may feel resistance or you're misunderstood from your family. Like when you try to change or set boundaries, it may cause some tension, some resistance, and this is generally not easily accepted. And another sign is that you do things differently. For example, you're the first to break away from a traditional wedding, refuse a religion or some family customs. You're the first in your family to pursue higher education, or at the contrary, not pursue it. You're the one who does not want to take over the family business that it has been running since 1902. You're the first to become self-employed or achieve financial security. You're the first in your family to not smoke, not have an addiction, or just you're the first to seek help to overcome it if you do have an addiction. I used to smoke like 2 packets of cigarettes a day before I really dug into my childhood trauma and understand what is behind this addiction, what suffering is behind this addiction. You are the one who must reprogram your childhood to become a fulfilled adult. You are the one pushing your family to adopt a healthy lifestyle and encourage them to grow, to heal, to open up. So what the cycle breaker does is just amazing and incredible. Because you recognize dysfunctional dynamics and toxic traits within your family, whether it's the people, the culture, the customs, the habit, the environment. A cycle breaker will challenge all of this to heal and improve, to stop the cycles of abuse or trauma that are passed down from generation to generation. However, dismantling family dynamics or even questioning them can be a complicated process because it may not be accepted or well received by the family in question. And this is where the cycle breaker slash black sheep or scapegoat dynamic comes into play. And the family might even say, "Come on, everything was so fine before you. Why are you bringing this stuff up?" The family is whether unaware or unwilling to acknowledge the toxic patterns repeating and does not want to recognize the need for change. And the cycle breaker is the one who highlights all of this. breaking the illusions of this so-called perfect family. And he may be judged. Yeah, you may be judged. You may feel shame and guilt. And as the family will do everything to destroy this revelation by gaslighting the person. They will make you believe you're making this up, that you're exaggerating, you're just complaining, come on. And the the perpetrator tries to position themselves as the victim, and the scapegoat becomes the worst person that exists in the planet. So family wounds of all kinds reverberate through future generations, as we have seen earlier, like various trauma, abuse, immaturity, harmful patterns, and so on. But today, you have the choice to stop all of it. And stopping cycles that have been repeated for so long is not an easy task. When you haven't experienced a healthy structure, it's hard to love yourself, align with yourself, feel compassion for yourself, and set healthy boundaries. It's not easy at all, but what a wonderful gift you give yourself and your children if you have any. The path of the cycle breaker is demanding, but the rewards are huge. By choosing to free yourself from toxic inheritance, you transform your life because you become more aligned with your values. You create an authentic existence that respects your essence and who you truly are beyond the values of your group, of your tribe, of your family. You inspire others. Your courage can encourage, like, can give some courage to other family members to start their own transformation. You can inspire your friends. You can inspire your clients if you're a therapist. And doing this work offer a different future to the next generation, whether you choose to have kids or not. And by changing your patterns, you open the door to healthier relationship and a better quality of life for your children, whether they exist or not, or maybe your future children. And if you don't want to have children, that's okay, because working on you will just have an impact on your life and on your ancestors as well. So you will normalize functional, reciprocal, healthy relationship, and you will deconstruct your approach to others. Toxicity and everything dysfunctional no longer have a place in your life. Isn't that amazing? Not sure it's not the easiest way, but it is amazing. So your question may be how should I free myself from toxic inheritance? So breaking a family cycle, like toxic family cycle, obviously requires courage and patience. And here are some steps to begin with this process. You have to recognize the patterns and become aware of what is dysfunctional. You cannot heal something that you're not aware of, unless it's stuck in your body, but that's another story. This involves identifying behaviors or belief that no longer serves you. It requires some introspective work, some shadow work, coaching or therapy. Ask yourself this question to identify problematic patterns in your life. Are there recurrent behaviors in your family that seem negative or harmful? For example, constant criticism, a lack of communication, abuse, addiction, victimhood behaviors. Are there beliefs or sentences you've often heard that limit you today? For instance, you never have enough money, you have to suffer to succeed, love isn't for us, men are or blah, 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 blah. Do you experience emotional blockages or disproportionate reactions to certain situations? Do you feel overwhelmed by some emotion, by certain emotions? Have you noticed repetitions in your choices or behaviors, like toxic relationships, procrastination, having the same work issues, and so on? Once the cycles are identified, the goal is to understand their origin, explore these avenues, look back at your past. What experiences or interaction with your family or surroundings nurture these patterns? Does it stem from childhood? Then explore Family and cultural belief. Are there implicit values or rules in your environment that contribute to these cycles? Is there something passed down through generations that could benefit from some some transgenerational work? Explore the role of emotions. Are there emotions like guilt, shame, or fear that are in your family? If so, what toxic emotion have you been able to identify? Then work on your emotion once you identified everything. I believe that in order to heal, you must feel. I believe that it's so important because if you don't feel, it remains stuck within you. It crystallizes. Crystallizes. Sorry, my English is not my mother tongue, and inevitably you pass it on unconsciously. Emotional release is essential. This may include forgiveness, and it's necessary and available to you, but also the expression of anger, sadness, shame, and sometimes even emotion that are positive, such as joy that your ancestors repressed and were never allowed to express, like joy, sensuality, happiness, and so on. Then set boundaries. Learn how to say no and protect your energy. This may mean distancing yourself from certain family members if necessary, or at least setting healthy boundaries that respect your integrity, energy, needs. Invest in your personal development. Read, seek therapy, coaching, meditation. Find the tools that help you heal and grow, and get support if necessary to help you move forward faster, see your blind spots, and be carried in your healing journey. I'd be happy to coach you if necessary. Build new patterns. Once you've identified what you no longer want, create rules and values that reflect the life you desire. And working on these values is necessary. What are your values? Do you live in alignment with them, or do you live according to others? Here are some tools to support you. First, self compassion. Adopting a compassionate attitude towards yourself, especially in difficult times, is super important. And according to Kristen Neff, which is an American psychologist who speaks extensively about self-compassion, I highly recommend her work. For her, it's the ability to be kind to oneself in times of suffering or failure, rather than just harshly judging oneself. If the concept of self-compassion interests you, there's a book that she wrote, so Kristin Neff, Neff, Self-Compassion, The Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself. It offers clear concepts, practical exercises, and tools to integrate self-compassion into your life. And then once you are able to feel self-compassion, therapy, coaching, work with the therapist, with the coach to explore deep trauma and deep-rooted beliefs. Then breathwork, trauma-informed breathwork. It's an excellent way to surrender to life and become aware of repeated patterns through altered states of consciousness and work with ancestors. Trauma-informed breathwork will help you regulate your nervous system, will allow you to move out of survival states linked to your traumas. It will promote the release of trapped emotions in your body, reduce the impact of unresolved trauma in general. And this practice highly improved my life, and I'm really thankful to I have a lot of gratitude towards breathwork because it helped me so much. It improves body awareness, it helps interrupt automatic negative patterns, it enhances self-regulation, it helps you foster compassion for yourself, and you just accept to feel, basically. I don't have groups yet in English, but you can have a one-to-one journey breathwork with me. So trauma-informed breathwork one-to-one with me. Just write me in my website or on my socials, and I'll be happy to guide you. Then you have journaling. Write about your feelings, your thoughts, your behaviors. somatic practices that will help you regulate emotions linked to your trauma and automatic responses. Then develop new habits, introduce behaviors that are opposite to toxic patterns that you are trying to stop. This is a huge work, guys, and that's not something really easy or that you can do in 1 week, but just it's an amazing work. And just find somebody that can guide you throughout this journey that is really amazing. If you want me to guide you, I have online Zoom session. I'll be happy to guide you on a one-to-one container, whether it's for coaching or breathwork. So if you have some question, please just write them into the comments. If you want to like, to comment, and to just spread the word, so this podcast or YouTube channel is known by most of people, I'll be happy to. So thank you very much and see you next time for our next topic. Ciao, ciao.